So, welcome to the studio. This is the place where I make the music. This is where I stream. This is where we make videos. This is where we meet every week, almost every week. I want to kind of walk you through some things in here that are sort of special and how the design went into this place. I mean, aesthetically speaking, if we just talk about the colors, black and gold is kind of the thing that I focus on. This sort of stemmed from my interest in the beauty of black and gold when I had my Ibanez guitar. I think it was the UG7 HDSQ 111426 3B_5591664327, whatever, dude. Ibanez makes these crazy long serial numbers. The point is, I have that Ibanez. It's actually on loan right now to my buddy Tyler, but for those of you that have seen our music videos and stuff, you know this, you know the guitar. So the black and gold aesthetic sort of started there. Then I just so happened to be interested in this sort of studio decorating space mindset, right? I was in that mindset and I went to a Goodwill one day and I found these really badass curtains that looked like they came from some kind of like clergy building, some kind of like religious building, I don't know, but they're super beautiful and they're like embroidered and they look like they're handmade and hand cut. So I found these and I said, you know what, I'm going with it. It matches the guitar. I got a pair of earrings that match it. The picks that I have match it. We have custom dice on the way. Our entire new Kardashev branding from 2022 done by Raul is black and gold. And so those of you who know. So let's move on. So that's kind of the general aesthetic of the room, and it kind of takes flight from there. And you know, I have little pockets sort of organized in different colors. A lot of what you're going to see in here is a result of me testing our shop's ability to create quality products. There's a lot of space in the online e-commerce platform for people to prosper. But part of the problem with that is it lacks a sort of quality control, a sort of oversight. You know, a lot of people will upload a digital file to Etsy and say, hey, I'm selling prints of this. But if they never get the print themselves, oh, cool, I've got an Oreo ad back here. Sick. If they never get a copy of the print themselves, because it can be kind of expensive, they don't actually know if their DPI is right or if their margins are correct. And this is something that my old roommate Riley had to teach me. So what we've done, let me grab one of these really quick. What we've done is we've ordered these sort of test prints from the shop that we go through. We go through a company called Printful. And as you can see here, this is just a t-shirt on a piece of cardboard, right? And I gator clipped it on here so that it would kind of be nice and displayed. But this is RGB codes of color on a black shirt. And that kind of helps me understand how I can design merch files that will print with the color accordingly. And so I can reference this should I ever need to make adjustments. I say to myself, okay, the shirt that I just ordered, as an example, hypothetically, a shirt I just ordered, it feels a little bit too dark. Let me open up the Photoshop file, see what the RGB value is of some of these colors that I'm using, and let me see one that's kind of close, and maybe I want to adjust the colors here. So this is a neat little tool that we use sometimes to make those adjustments. So let's kind of break down the room. Let's talk about the room a little bit. We'll start over here with kind of the ultimate frame of this corner. This is my workstation. I got this desk at Sam Ash a handful of years ago, probably 15 years ago at this point. It's really old. It's gone through a handful of moves with me. It's a 2-tier, and a lot of this is kind of custom done. Sort of gives you the idea that you can have this elevated space for the monitor so you don't have to like crink your neck and look down or have it's a monitor riser. What's kind of cool about this is you can see here, I've got 2 computers in the background. One of them runs this television, which is my stream computer. It's completely used for audio and video processing and streaming. And then this other computer here is used for gaming and recording. This is like my media production computer, and that's my streaming computer. It also kind of serves as a server, so I can store stuff on it if I run out of storage. Down here we've got Logitech mouse, we've got an Aukey G4, I think, keyboard with a custom keyboard set. You can see Kardashev, SGR, some artisans. It's got a bunch of different stuff. And then here in the middle, this is like the brain of Kardashev in a way, without the computer. All of our tones, currently, our guitar tones, come from the Axe FX Ultra. It's very outdated at this point, but I figure it's what we've got and it still works, so we still use it. Then we have the Scarlett 18i20 USB interface. This allows us to record up to 18 instruments simultaneously, which is what we were going to do when we started streaming back in 2016, I think it was. when we started streaming, I said, I'm going to have to invest into this because when we get a drummer, we're going to need to mic up the kit. Then we're going to have to mic up the guitar and then the vocals and then the bass. And then, we're going to need a lot of ways to record individual instruments. So I bought that. It's been great ever since. And then above that, you can see here, this is a Furman power conditioner. Actually, I think this is a live wire. Excuse me, this is a live wire power conditioner. This is to make sure that we don't get any surges through to the equipment. Now, what's neat about this is all of this equipment is going to wind up in this travel case at some point. This one here. This is called a flight case. This one particularly is an FX rack. But the way that it works is, I'm sure if you've ever seen a band play live, they have these big hard cases full of equipment, precious equipment that can be damaged if not handled properly. So that's what those cases do. They sort of provide a hard exterior so that it doesn't get damaged during travel. So all of this equipment here that I use can be transferred into there along with my new MacBook Pro. It's not new, it's new to me. It's a 2015 model, but it has the right specs. I think it'll do us just fine. So that's kind of how some of the equipment is on the desk here. The monitors are Yamaha HS8s. That I picked up while our bass player Alex was working at Guitar Center, so he got me a sweet discount on those. That's kind of like this main station. This is kind of where all the production takes place. Oh, the piece de resistance here, the MSI Ultra Wide. If you want the model number, it is the Optics MAG341CQ. That's Charlie and Queen. I don't know what Q is in the Army alphabet, whatever. This thing is a badass. I used to run double, triple, and even quadruple monitors at a certain point, but I realized that I need to start focusing on one thing at a time. And it's nice to have windows, but I can always Alt-Tab into windows, or I can snap them into the corners or whatever I need to. With the ultra-wide, this is a 1440 display with 3440 on the width. It's pretty nice. I would recommend. This one is also curved and has a 1 millisecond response. So it's pretty solid for gaming if you have the graphics card that can keep up with it. Okay, so that's sort of the that's the brain. That's everything that's set up here. And then I just have this cheap Techni Sport gaming chair. I don't know if you can see the bottom here, but it's kind of wearing out. Whatever, it's a fake leather and everything. The arms are kind of breaking. I need to get a new one. Mark says he really likes the chair that he has, which happens to be black and gold. So maybe we'll get that one. Okay, so this is the other wall, right? You can see here the computer's over on this wall, so we're back in this corner. So over here, this is just kind of this is sort of a storage, but also a what's the word? Not mural. I don't know. It's like an aesthetic, like a Zen garden aesthetic thing over here. The wall's a little bare. I haven't really filled it out yet because I have a lot more room in this room than I did in my old studio in my apartment. So the artwork is spread out more, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But over here, I have these two plastic towers that just kind of house everything from electronics to guitar parts. There's some board games in there. There's a lot of cables and lights for video production and stuff like that, especially when we're on site. Over here in the middle, this is just kind of a piece of furniture that has a lot of my Dungeons and Dragons swag. I've got a drinking horn, these little potion bottles. The salt rocks add a nice ambience when the lights are off in the room. They just kind of like glow and bring a little warmth to it. Also, a big recommendation for those of you that live in drier climates, this right here. This is a Honeywell humidifier. It's good for a room about this size. It's a little weak for this size, mostly for a 10 by 10. I'm currently in like a 15 by 10. That's sort of this length of this room. This thing does a great job though, just keeping your nasal passage nice and like moist so that you don't like get bloody noses. But also the instruments that are in the room appreciate the humidity a little bit as well. Just don't keep anything metallic in here that's gonna rust. So we have this on. It kind of helps in the winter time and in the summertime for different reasons. And then over here we have, of course, the helmet that I used to stream in, and I should probably start streaming in now that we're playing Valheim again. So this wall's kind of important to me. This is a soft spot in my heart. Starting over here, these collections of bugs that are pinned were a gift from a friend who is teaching me how to pin bugs for this project that I had for Liminal Right that never came to fruition. That project was since we're working with Metal Blade, I wanted to make a collector's edition of Liminal Right, and I wanted it to include some of the physical items that were mentioned in that album. Something like cicadas, right? So we have this cicada here in a single box with its entomology information, I guess. I don't really know what this is called, but it's like it tells you where it came from, what time of year, if it was a species type, it kind of gives you that Latin information. So it's got these like stickers in here that give you info. I wanted to do something like this, and this was the prototype. And so this friend of mine, she was helping me understand how to pin and why this was important and what the process was. And as a result of her teaching me this, she found that I was so interested that she decided to gift me part of her personal collection, which I now have here displayed, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous. That being said, the remainder of this wall is really dedicated to the community around Kardashev and the people that I've come to know through the Kardashev sort of brand and music, and they've sent me things over the years. My buddy Andrew, he's a really crafty dude. He has his own crafting channel and TikTok and stuff. I'll put a link in the description. You can check it out. But he does a lot of this really crafty stuff where he just kind of designs things and then buys the equipment to learn it. He's done this with 3D printing. He's done this with sticker machines. He has these really fancy like inkjet printers that can do like very high definition photos that are massive. He's just kind of one of those people who always wants to get into a new hobby, a new craft. He also did his own indoor, it was like an indoor farm / garden where he grew his own heads of lettuce. And at a certain point, he had so much lettuce, he brought it into work and would just give people these gallon bags of lettuce. He's like, hey, I have too much. You can have it, make a salad, whatever you want, right? Really awesome dude. So he gifted me this here. This is laser etched and colored, and I don't know how he does it, but it's a frame that he bought, and then he lasered the sort of logo and stuff onto it. This here, this cross stitch thing that says death metal and has these flowers and butterflies and a little rainbow. This was done by Katie, who is Taniel's fiance, and Taniel is one of our moderators and has been with us for a very long time through Twitch and Discord, and he's been really plugged in. And so when his fiance Katie started, Caitlin, I'll call her Caitlin, I think she prefers that. When she started getting into this hobby, she'd made death metal, and she said, hey Nico, I want to send this to you so you can put it on the wall. So we have this here as well, just kind of blended in with this. And then if we move over here, this is a little shelf that I have where people who have sent us goodies, who have sent us, products that maybe they sell on their store and they want to get our opinion on it. I have that put up here, but also this is a lot of collaboration. If we start at the top here, Maiden and Whelp, Corinne, she's in our Discord and she's also all over our social media. She has her own pin store and sticker store. I'll put that in the description. You can check her out. She sent me a bunch of stuff. Raul, he runs a company called Eagle and Bison where he helped us design the new Kardashev logo and black gold aesthetic. He also was the inspiration behind all of our current social media headers. The way that our website is designed is partially from him. Liminal Right's layout and color choice and font choice. He's just a wizard with design and branding. So talk to him, support him, buy a shirt or something. He also helped us make the pins. The peony pin, the card that it comes with, he helped me put that together so that we could make it a limited series that was hand numbered. And then he helped me get the boxes and the bags and all kinds of stuff. He's a badass. So I've got a bunch of his pins up here, or rather I have his flower pin up here, and then the stuff that he helped me make for Kardashev is also up here. We had some international friends send us candy. These were in the form of Kinder eggs, and they have a little toy in them. And so we got 2 in the package, and these are the toys right here. So it's a reminder to me of people who have gifted us foods and stuff like that from overseas. I then have my Vola pin and patch here, which is going to eventually go onto this vest. I'm wearing the blank version of this vest here. Hopefully in the future it'll be full of patches. But I have the Vola stuff here from when I was at Euroblast in Germany this year. I got those from their merch station. Then I have some other pins, Kardashev. One of our favorite creators, Mark and my's favorite creators, his name is Jacob Geller, and he does these video essays on YouTube, and he's he's kind of really plugged in well with the community on YouTube, but also he has his own Patreon and he does Twitch streaming now where he plays Fortnite and a couple of other things. But he has been a huge inspiration for the last 2 albums that we've made. For Liminal Right, he has a video that inspired us a lot, which you can read about on our website, but you should just go watch his video. It's called The Intimacy of Everyday Objects, where he breaks down why seemingly meaningless objects can be actually so valuable, and we sort of take him for granted. He's really got a beautiful mind for how he describes things. So go watch him. I have one of his patches here. My friend Melissa, she helped me get back from Canada almost free of charge through the airplane service that she used to work for. And so as a sort of thank you, I have a pin here of that company, and it just kind of reminds me that there are people out there who are just incredible, and they're so kind and giving, and for her to just say, I will get your plane ticket through this, benefit that I get through my employer, I think I can help you get back from Canada without having to pay. So that was a huge relief there. Again, I have 3D printed stuff that also came from Andrew. He's a multi-hobbyist. He does laser printing, 3D printing, all kinds of stuff. This Dragonair card was a gift from Chip, one of our Enlisted Travelers and supporters. He's a super cool dude, lives out in the middle of the country with a family and the whole thing, but he fell in love with Kardashev for a while there, and as a gift to me, he actually sent me a bunch of Dungeons and Dragons books because his friend works at the place where they print the books, and they get a bunch of copies that they have to quality control check, and so he gets copies, and then he just buys his own copies. And so he's like, hey, let me send you a bunch of D&D books, and we actually have an unboxing video on our YouTube if you want to watch that. That was a ton of fun. But he sent me this Dragonair as just like he collected Pokemon cards at the same time that I did. We're about the same age, and so he's like, hey, what's your favorite Pokemon? And I was like, Dragonair, and he's like, tight, and he sent me a card. Super cool, dude. So we got that. And then Jenny, she sent me a care package with a ton of awesome stuff in it. It had food, it had tea, it had incense, it had chocolate, it had licorice, and she also sent a bunch of stickers of one of her favorite artists, which was super cool. And then most recently, which you can't really see, but behind here, you see this skull with the eyes on it. These are decals for a car that were sent by this guy NJ, who's in Australia, and he likes Kardashev's music. And I reached out to him because I found this really awesome book that he had printed. It's called 100 Birds, One Bone. And this book has a beautiful backstory to it, and the artwork is beautiful. It's got this amazing like flash style here and there. Some of it's like hand painted watercolor. And so I reached out to him and I said, hey, this is an awesome book. And he's like, yo, dude, I like your music a lot. You guys are cool. I'd love to send you a care package from Australia. And so in that care package, he not only included a copy of this book, he has coffee scented incense, which is branded with his band. Check out his band. They're called Body Prison. They're super sick. They're very technical, genty, like slammy. It's kind of neat. He sent a huge box that we have an unboxing video you can go watch if you want. It's on the YouTube channel. So he had the book, he had this, he had these decals. He sent us hot sauces, which I have one right here. This one was hot as shit. It's called Melbourne Hot Sauce, and this one's called Reaper Whiskey Barbecue. And it was really good. The other one that he sent, which is in the refrigerator down here, was also very good, but it was brutally hot. I mean, I would eat it for the flavor, but it would make me sweat and my eyes tear up, so it'd be great. So he sent that most recently. Shout out to NJ. Thanks so much, dude. Appreciate that. And then right here, this is a sort of special sort of reveal that I'll do in this video, and that is that we're thinking about producing Kardashev-themed role-playing dice. This is the multi-hedron dice set that people use for tabletop RPGs, for Dungeons and Dragons, or just board games in general if they require more than just a 6-sided dice. So we have these here. This is handmade by this guy Josh on Instagram, who reached out to me one day and he said, hey, I'm gonna make a set of custom dice. Would you be interested in collaborating with me to see if we can, gain some interest? And I said, oh my God, of course. We're nerds. You're a nerd, but you're a creator who's a nerd. Let's work together. And so it took us a couple of months of back and forth because, life happens, but he eventually got them done and he sent them to me, and they're right here and they're gorgeous. And I'm going to include a link down below where you can check out this item. And if you're interested in it, I'm going to take pre-orders on it. We're going to do a pre-order system so that I can bring up enough money to actually buy in bulk from him. Maybe 50 sets, 20 sets. I'm not really sure how many we're going to make, but I'll try to make that a priority after this video. There'll be a link in the description for you to check out. But these dice are absolutely gorgeous. They're handmade, hand numbered. The dice faces use the proprietary Kardashev font, so you can't get these anywhere else. The colorway, of course, black gold with some purple, white, black, something along those lines. They're gorgeous dice. And he includes a coin, a D2, right? Heads or tails. And it's in a custom 3D printed box with custom vinyl stickers all along it with the branding. Absolutely gorgeous design. Josh is a wizard. So big shout out to him. So this little section here, this is a shout out to all the people who have contributed and sent us stuff and just wanted to work with us to express themselves. All of these creators are fantastic. You should check them out, see what they've got to offer. Last but not least, this is a wood and metal sculpture that was done by an individual on Twitch. His name is M_slave, M_slave. That's the name that I know him by, and he made this for me as a fan of Kardashev and as a commission that I put through him when we were getting active on Twitch. We've worked with a lot of Twitch creators. When we get over here to the artwork side, you'll get to kind of see like some of the other people that we've worked with to come up with designs or to help push their brand along to our fan group. So this is a very special little shelf for me. It's got a lot of people that are very important to our community. That being said, moving over here, the final piece. This is my whiteboard of nonsense. It's got grandma on it. She passed away a while ago. She's here. I got some paperwork. There's Mark and Katie's wedding invitation. This is the note from NJ when he sent the hot sauces and the book and everything. And then there's just a bunch of nonsense on there, and I kind of make some mental notes when I want to sort of keep it in my mind's eye when I'm entering and exiting the studio. So that's this side of the studio. All right, and moving on to the handheld phone. The camera lens doesn't zoom out far enough for how narrow this room is, so I'm using the wide angle lens on my phone to just kind of get an idea of this. So this is the other side of the studio. And over here, as you can see, we've got a bunch of artwork. We got a big window. We have like a windowsill. We have an old iMac G4, I think it is. I'm not really sure. But we'll kind of start over here and just talk about this part of the studio. So over here, this is all of my merch, right? This is merch that we have. There's vinyl back there. Over here, there's just like shipping pads. These are all of our pins and all of our CDs and stuff. And then this is where I keep like the extra little goodies that I throw in. Up here, we have some custom incense, the Kardashev incense. We're gonna have that for sale pretty soon. Then we have the Cricut printer, so I can make vinyl stickers like this one here. Goes on the back of your car window or something. We've got Nanosaur up on the G3. Up here is kind of where I wanted to begin though. Jessica Hellfox is a local tattoo artist and just artist in general who does these really awesome paintings. She's incredible. Her husband's in a black metal band. They're just kind of interesting individuals. So a long time ago, I started supporting her by buying this flash of a Minotaur. And eventually, I got around to getting one of these paintings from somebody who bought it from her, and then he sold it to me. So I got the painting, we've got the Minotaur, we've got one of the only Kardashev live flyers, posters that was ever made, right there. Got that from the venue the night that we played. And then up here, these are the original 5 Bearing of Shadows, 12 by 12 artworks. I say original, I just mean that they're the artwork that are done as prints. We used to offer these in the shop. These are all framed, as you can see, and they just look awesome above the window, I think. Over here, we have a Saprofiel. You can't see it with the reflection. It's kind of hard to see. Saprofiel had this print done. And she had them available during one of her showings here at a gallery in Phoenix. So I grabbed that and framed it. And then on this side, this is the custom Saprofiel that I had commissioned from her. You can see here, it's kind of got the flower with the shades, and it has like this Dark Souls-esque sort of vibe to it. If you're interested in this, you can check it out. We've got some products on the shop, but got that custom commissioned from her. Here on the windowsill, I just kind of have these LED lights and then a bunch of like D&D and more spiritually related stuff. It's just a little spot for me to kind of decorate and curate. It's kind of fun. A lot of singing bowls, if for those of you who've been around for the streams. And then we've got the custom coasters from the Bearing of Shadows era. And then of course, Liminal Rite. This is just one of the vinyl variants, and then the CD variant, and the Sacrificial Blade from the Never Breath music videos. So it's just kind of a little spot where I can kind of curate this. These are my super sick leather chairs that I'm getting rid of soon because nobody who comes over likes them because they don't stay up. As soon as you put your weight into them, they slide back. It's terrible. Okay, and then over here, this is my little bookshelf and the original Liminal Rite paintings. You can see here, if I get up close enough, you can see the tooth of the painting. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but yep, these are the OGs. That's an original Peripety painting that was never used. So we've got these. We've got the really cool black and gold Kardashev framed headshot from back when we got the whole band. When the whole band finally was put together, Sean came around, and then we got Alex to come around and be a part of Kardashev. I said, hey everybody, we're taking these pictures, and we're gonna make a full band picture. So there it is. Felt really good to finally have that after so many years of not having it. And then this is my bookshelf. Da, 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 da. I'll give you a quick scan so you can kind of see some of the titles. I really like young adult sci-fi and fiction. That's just kind of the era of time that my memory associates with enjoying reading. We've got some Lovecraft over here, the Red Book, some George R.R. Martin, and then a little bit more of the like historical stuff, like Shakespeare's sonnets, Darwin's Armada. Over here we have The Prince and Meditations. There's just a bunch of different, it's just a variety. I'm a variety reader. I don't really have anything that I particularly like. Down here we have a bunch of like graphic novels, Dungeons and Dragons kind of things. Charles Dickens. Who else do we have here? Xenophon. Deep Madness. This is cool. Deep Madness was a board game that we really never got into, but it came with this lore book. Thought it was super sick since it was hardback. So that was cool. And then down here we have Dungeons and Dragons and just a random box. Mark actually bought me this cool box. It's like a motherboard that they turned into a box. See that? Isn't that cool? And I just kind of keep random trash in there. There's really nothing in it. It used to be on my desk, but it's now just on the bookshelf. So that's kind of the studio in general. Once you walk in, a lot of big lights, a lot of little storage, I really like decorating. I like decorating and curating the colors and stuff. Outside of that, we've got the instruments, which for those of you that have already seen that, you've seen that. We've got the Ibanez RG 505. This is a different Ibanez. This is this is also the SDGR, but this is the 3/4 size. You can see how much shorter it is. Those hangers are equal, so you can see how much shorter that guitar is than the other one. That was actually a gift from our buddy Paul, who used to play in Never Breath. Over here we have an Ibanez S Series 6-string, which I wrote a lot of Never Breath on. Then I have this interesting little dealie here. This is a Charvel. I don't even know the model. My dad got it for 20 bucks at a Goodwill, and I got it set up by my buddy Brendan, who sets up all of my guitars, and it's the new Never Breath guitar. So those are just kind of the two sitting there. And then if you know, you know, the Aristides 7-string with the custom inlay, everything like that. Beautiful instrument. Oh, these videos don't do justice. So that's kind of the whole thing. That's the studio, that's the artwork, it's the whole kit and caboodle. That's a closet, and it is not good. So we won't even talk about that. But that's it. If you guys have any questions, or if you want me to do any more kind of gear rundown or anything like that, let me know. And until next time, we'll see you later.